go.
Okay. You want me to tell you how I got into insurance?
Yeah.
Well, I needed a job that would pay me a lot of money for minimal work. And that gave me amazing benefits. So I signed up for insurance because it's such a flexible, easy job to make a lot of money without having to stress. Like I was making $20 an hour when minimum wage was $5 an hour. And that was back in 2009 or whatever it was, 2007, something like that. I was making bugo bucks. I was the richest of all my family. I took our richest of all my friends. Anytime we went out to the bar and could drink, I got all the drinks. I had all the money in my 20s. It was great. And then I worked there but you know, I was I'm a teacher at heart. Like that's what's in my heart is to teach. But I didn't know I was going to fall in love with insurance. So while going to college, that's when I got the job at USAA. I needed that part-time, flexible, high money-making job so that I can focus on school. And schooling was, you know, what I wanted, my passion going into education. So when I graduated, I had to make the difficult decision to leave USAA, and I couldn't. So I tried for as long as I could. I would do, during the day I would teach, and then at night I would drive to USAA, and I maintained that for as long as I could. But then eventually just got to be too much, and I went fully into teaching. But then I missed insurance so much that I found another part-time insurance job for Allstate selling insurance at a car dealership out in Surprise, Arizona. And that was fun. But I just kept kind of going back and forth between insurance and teaching. I wasn't happy in one or the other. And when I was in one, I would miss the other. So it was such a perfect, amazing opportunity when I found ExamFX, which is like the top pre-licensing provider in this space. And I was able to take my teaching passion and my insurance passion and combine them together for an amazing career. I spent the last 4 years at ExamFX, kind of learning all the ins and outs of, you know, the insurance exam. I taught for the big carriers like United Healthcare is the largest insurer in the world. I was one of the most requested instructors that they asked for to teach your classes because it had such high pass rates. Hagerty, and then a bunch of other like third-party call centers would hire me and want me to be they would hire ExamFX and request that I would be their teacher. But what I found was that ExamFX is an amazingly awesome state-approved course. And to be state-approved, you have to follow certain rules. You're not allowed to say certain things. You have to, you know, base the course off of the exam outline, which doesn't always put things in a good order to learn. And there was just a lot of frustration, a lot of pain points that people had through these courses, especially the knowledge inside the courses is so complex, so, you know, difficult for people to understand. It's just loaded with insurance jargon, and not being able to teach it in a way that makes sense, or having to use very complex language according to the state, you know, regulators to be able to make the content, it meant that a lot of people don't pass. And even with such a good course like ExamFX, you know, the national pass rate across the board is roughly around 50%. So 50% of the people will fail the exam the first time they take it because it's just so complex, and it's all the way it has to be written is so tough for people to understand, and making the connections between all the different chapters can be difficult without someone explaining, you know, life. Like in one chapter you learn about life insurance, and then in the next chapter you learn about how you can utilize life insurance, and then the next chapter you learn about all the provisions. But it should really be seamless all together. Like you learn about term life, you learn about the premium options of term life, you learn about the provisions on term life. It should be all seamless in order to understand it better for each person. But due to the state outline, it's not seamless like that. And so I was also answering a bunch of student emails. So I got a lot of like market research about the struggles that people have while taking this exam and their struggle to pass. So I ultimately made the decision to leave ExamFX so that I can do this on my own and be able to complement the ExamFX course or any pre-licensing course. Well, you don't have to have ExamFX. It is the best one, but I want to complement that course and be able to give people the guidance that they need to be able to know how to use the course, how to study, how to be prepared for the exam so that you can pass it the first time instead of failing it, because it's all too normal to fail. And that is just unfortunate. So even if you utilize the course and used all the tools and did all the studying, you're not necessarily going to pass. You need to know what to study, how to study. You need to be able to have the information explained in a simple, easy to understand format so that the information is easily, available for you to recall when you take the exam, because you're learning all this complex knowledge, and if you can't relate it to your own personal life, it's very difficult to make it stick into your brain. So that's what I do with teaching, is I'll use real life stories, real life scenarios, even unrelated to insurance, that will help people understand the concepts that they're learning within the exam. I also teach in such a way where I'm very repetitive with what I say, but only because it's going to implant the knowledge in your brain and you're going to memorize it. Numerous students have come back to me and said, I heard you when I was taking the exam. Like, as they were taking it, they heard my voice in my head, because I drilled down a lot on the concepts that you need to know, and I repeat it over and over again. Like, insurance is the transfer of risk. Insurance is the transfer of risk. So as I'm teaching, I repeat myself so that it implants into the learner's brain, and they retain that knowledge, so that when they go on the exam, they can immediately recall it and be able to answer the questions without the anxiety and the frustration. Part of passing the exam is being able to rise above your anxiety and frustration. But if all you're using is the course without understanding how to do it, you're going to build up a lot of anxiety and frustration, even in the studying process. My goal is to eliminate the anxiety, eliminate the frustration, eliminate the confusion, so that as you're studying, you get excited about your insurance career. You get excited about all the different ways that you can protect people and their families. You get excited about the way that you can build wealth, with life insurance. So the course that we go through to learn how to pass this exam shouldn't demoralize you and scare you away from this field. It should excite you. And that's what I like to do. I add the excitement into this course. I add the easy explanations, the memory tricks, all the different ways, so that you can have this information and be so excited to start your insurance career. You see that pass, you're ready to go, got to go get your fingerprints and your license, because once you got that pass, you're good and gravy, and now you can enter the insurance career, make all the money, protect all the families. And it's just such a beautiful thing, which is why I love insurance so much, and I couldn't just stick with teaching. Insurance is my love, teaching is my heart. Putting those two things together, I absolutely love the insurance exam queen business that I'm building. I absolutely love being able to help people pass this exam. I love being able to share my passions and my knowledge with everyone, so they can just soak it all up and just feel amazing and confident heading into that exam, passing it, starting this amazing career, making all the money, protecting all the family. It's such a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful for all the experience and knowledge that I've gained while working at ExamFX. I'm so grateful for all the experiences I had teaching these classes around the country. Pre-pandemic, I was actually flying all around the country every week teaching these classes. So I've taught life, health, property, casualty, personal lines. I know it all. Ask me any question, I'll be able to spit out the answer. You have a question for me?